Good morning. Hope this finds everyone well this Monday morning. Today for Marlo Meets, I'm jumping on a call, a live with Chloe Thorn, who is the founder of Ohana. Ohana means family. And Chloe is a qualified fitness instructor, and she is on a mission to empower parents and their children by creating opportunities for them to exercise together, to help with both sides' emotional well-being. So I'm just going to see if Chloe is here to join. So one moment, please. That's so funny. It popped up. It knew that I should invite Chloe. Oh, Chloe's here. Ah, good morning.
Morning. Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. My house is cold, so I've just actually taken my coat off, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, it's the same up here. It's really, really cold, and I feel a little bit like I've kind of got Monday morning brain fog a little bit, so not completely firing on all cylinders, but really nice to see you.
Thank you.
How was your weekend?
It was okay. It was busy. Yeah, no, it was nice. It was my birthday on Thursday, so I had a little sort of celebration over the weekend, so that was nice.
Birthday.
Very much. But yeah, no, back to it today, so that's good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, me too. I was having a look again at your website this morning, and I know you've recently had a rebrand, and I just said that Ohana means family, but maybe we could start there. Why did you decide to change the name of your company?
Yeah, so it was to do with kind of the message that I'm putting out, and I think it was originally the HIIT. So the classes that we offer are based on, there's elements of HIIT, high intensity training in there.
Yeah.
So it kind of made sense, and revolution being, a change and things like that. So, but I think as I've got clearer with our brand message, I kind of felt that because our focus isn't on necessarily the physical side of exercise, it's more on the mental well-being and what that can do to help you with that side of things. I kind of felt it was relevant to maybe change the name and do something, it's a little bit different, Ohana, but a lot of people do recognize it as family, and just means a little bit more, I think, than what we originally were.
Yeah, I really like it, and I like the meaning behind it. And yeah, I think HIIT revolution, it makes me at least focus more on the physical side of it than the emotional. But you and I first connected, it's pretty sure it was last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think when you were kind of at the beginnings of doing this. So perhaps you could just tell me a bit about the journey that you've been on, and how you started this, maybe some of your background and what led you here.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd always kind of, I'd had mental health in terms of, it wasn't something I had, negative mental health as such, if you want to put it like that. It's not something I suffered with, but I had a partner who had, significant kind of mental illness issues. And I think it'd always been quite prevalent in my earlier 20s, leading through to kind of the end of my 20s. And I think I'd always thought in the back of my head, I need to do something. I saw the effect that it had on people, my family. I've got 2 children. And I think I'd always thought I need to do something that makes a difference in terms of preventing mental illness. I was working at the time at a corporate, I was a quality manager for a pensions company. It wasn't a passion particularly. I fell into it. And I actually got made redundant at the end of 2019. And I thought, well, this is the time to do something that I'd wanted for a while. So that's how it kind of came about. And I started working it through lockdown. And did launch it in sort of the summer of lockdown, which maybe wasn't the best time, but it kind of just felt right. And we got some classes going in parks near me. And that's kind of led to where we are today, really. I had to put a pause in it at the end of last year, and have then started to go into local schools near us, and that's kind of the route I'm now trying to push it through, to kind of get it as part of schools' wellbeing program, essentially.
Because so your model is kind of working out outside. You're inviting, when you're talking about families, you're inviting parents and their kids, or it could be an auntie and uncle, right? Any kind of intergenerational setup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the focus is parents and children, parents and carers and children. But like you say, you know, if it's a grandparent and a child, but it has, you know, there is that element of it's an adult and a child.
Yes.
Yeah, coming together, working out, you know, you've got amazing amount of activities available to kids, but it's rare to find something where you can do it together and you can actually that kind of interaction there and supporting each other through exercise. So yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's parent and children coming together and doing a workout together.
I think you're right, because it's so simple, but
Yeah,
I don't hear or come across any. I mean, the only thing I've come across maybe is parent and child yoga, but
yeah,
nothing like what you're doing. And
yeah.
so, what does a class look like for when people come? What should they expect?
Yeah, so we have 45 minutes classes, so traditional in terms of warming up at the main session and then a cool down. What we do is we actually focus a lot on high intensity training workouts. So for anyone that doesn't know, that's essentially doing an exercise for a period of time and then a rest, and then you go back into an exercise. So it's quite intense in that sense. But of course, it's adapted to, you've got kids of 4 up to 11. You know, everyone does what they can in terms of their ability. But we also incorporate it into games. So we've got loads of games, you know, where it's kids against parents, it's challenges, competition, you know, that kind of element to it as well. So it's fun, like to watch it is lovely because it's just everyone gets so involved, so much energy. So yeah, and we actually end the classes while we're doing like a cool down. In like a way of like reflecting on the session. There's a lot of chat. It's almost go to a level of like gratitude. What are we proud of? What did you do today that you couldn't do last time? So it's also bringing it back to that mental well-being side of things as well.
Mm. And what kind of feedback have you been getting from some of the families and kids coming to your classes?
Yeah, they love it. Like they love sometimes being better than their mum and dad at an exercise. That is brilliant. They love doing things together, especially some of the smaller ones just love having that time, that just dedicated 45 minutes of time to just be with their mum or dad or whoever. And yeah, they just love that element, you know, and I think it's nice for the kids to see the parents kind of struggling a bit and, you know, struggling to do something but keeping going, and, you know, sometimes get the kids supporting the parents, and it's lovely. So yeah, it's lovely to see.
I think it's really powerful. I mean, it's no secret to those who know me that I'm not a lover of exercise. You know, I kind of blame it on my school days, one of those people that
Yeah,
wasn't great at it. I had an awful PE teacher who would call me out on this kind of stuff. We've
yeah,
heard all of these stories.
yeah.
And now with my 3-year-old daughter, you know, I'm very conscious that I don't want to be that mum that just doesn't do anything with her or modeling, even though I find it really hard to motivate myself. So what you're describing sounds really compelling to me, having an element of fun, doing it together. And I also read, and you might know better than I do on this, but there was some research around girls in particular,
Right.
as they kind of grow up and become into tweens, early teens, they actually benefit from doing exercise with their mum because they feel it's almost like what you described. They don't feel the pressure
Yeah,
in the same way as performing if it were with their peers.
yeah,
And you know, it's okay if they mess up or they're not great or whatever, then the mum, and probably as you said, in the case of me, or it might be better than I am when the time comes.
yeah. That's the funny thing, and it's so true what you're saying. What I've found is it's a really empowering thing for a parent to kind of say, right, we're gonna do this, and this is gonna make you feel this way and that way. And I've always found, especially with my children, there is a limited amount of things you can do that actually, you know, well-being is becoming such a big topic at the moment, and you do think, oh, how can I help them? And this is such a practical way to, you know, every week we're going to go to this class together, we're going to do this together, and there's a lot in it in terms of, like you say, in terms of self-esteem, doing something for yourself, you know, resilience. There's a lot there. So yeah, it's yeah, I love it, of course, but it's interesting to hear from you. You know, as you say, you're not into exercise, but it doesn't really matter with this. It's just going. It's all the other bits, and that's just, you know, you might get very fit in the process. So
Yeah, if that's a happy byproduct, I'm in. I'm
yeah,
signed up.
exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you've started doing some work in schools. You're based down in Croydon. how's the school kind of interaction or model differ to family classes?
Yeah, I think it's very similar, really. So out in the parks, we opened up to, we had a few people who were signing secondary school age as well. I'm now sort of focusing more on primary school kids at the moment. But it's really like a partnership. So we're trying to create this partnership with a school. So it's not, it's an after school club. We run them on Saturday mornings as well. But it is coming with the school, part of their wellbeing program, and sort of them kind of really recommending us to the families and saying, look, we really have a massive focus on mental well-being. It's really important to us, and through this is a physical tool which we recommend is a great way to kind of to help that. So it is very similar, but it is a partnership that we have, which it seems to be working really well so far.
And so you've started in Croydon. I'm imagining that the plan and the vision is for this to spread. And I thought it was interesting, you mentioned on your website that you're almost like an antidote to social media and tech. So is your vision very much to stay in this in real life interactions, sessions, out in nature? Is that what you're looking to kind of grow and build?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I did at one point, when I had to stop the classes, consider doing it online. But I think it's part of it is being in the moment in there, and we are considering over the winter months whether we do move inside. And, there's, particular, I love it outside, but sometimes that is, slightly off-putting for people. It depends once they get into it. You don't mind being outside. But yeah, I think it will always sort of stay as an in-person fitness class, I suppose, as maybe doing it online. And like you say, there's so much technology, social media, all of that, and it is nice to just come away and do something that's not related, I suppose.
Yeah. And so in terms of your kind of army of coaches, if you like, particularly as you build this, how are you kind of recruiting those people? Or what kind of people are you looking for? Because I'm just wondering if anyone's watching who maybe is a trained PT and wants to work with kids. What's your approach to that?
Yeah, I think the culture I want to build in the instructors is so important, and I want that to filter right through to the kids. And I think, like I say, having a positive mental well-being is so important to me, and I want that to be installed in the people that are coming into the classes and running them. So people that are passionate about not just fitness, obviously they would need to be qualified, but who have a passion to kind of build healthy habits in children, who want to help families and see them grow. And we want this to be a journey, so it's not what we actually do is we run throughout holidays and things like that. It's not a term time, because again, I want it to be a lifestyle as opposed to just we're doing 6 weeks of classes and then we have a break and all of that. So I think the main thing is people that are passionate, people that want to make a change, who have visions that are similar to the company in terms of building this out to as many families as possible. I guess that they would be the main things, really.
And are you looking at focusing initially on South London and kind of broadening the spread from there?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. I hope to sort of, as we come into the springtime, launch it out to further schools around here. I've got big visions of franchising it down the road. Obviously, I need to initially do this part myself and get it up and running, but that would be the idea initially. Eventually to then have it as a option. But yeah, I just, I'm spending the time at the moment trying to connect with people, trying to network and, get to know as many people as possible and spread the message, I suppose, essentially.
Yeah. Well, it's a really important and really positive message. I know you're a mum of 2 kids yourself. So what hints or tips? I always like to talk about hacks and kind of habits that people can form that are easy and don't feel overwhelming. So as it is so bitterly cold and we're coming into winter, do you have any kind of advice for parents for getting out, being more active with their kids to support emotional well-being?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can, a lot of the time I spent in lockdown with my 2, we would go out on a walk, it's always that initial thought, isn't it, of doing something. It's like, oh, it's so cold, it's so this. But most of the time you go out and you have a great time and, wrap up warm and all of that. So I think anything in terms of just being active, getting out into nature, getting outside, go to the woods, make it fun. Scavenger hunts, I did a couple of those with my kids, and just to like get them, you know, looking around and you know, enjoying it rather than thinking about the fact they're just walking. And you know, it's funny when you start doing it and you think children don't really pick up on much, but through me doing my own exercise and things like that, my son, you know, a few times in lockdown, he would get the cones out and he'd lay out a little activity for us to do, and he would want to do it, and he'd tell me what exercises we were going to do. And I think that's a massive thing, and that's, again, you know, the message I'm putting here is that they see so much, and what you do is reflected on them, even if you don't see it straight away, and they'll suddenly do something, you're like, okay, yeah, you are noticing. And I think that's the thing, is try and be as much of a role model as possible. And I know that's easy to say, but just tiny little things, taking time for yourself and doing that as well.
Yeah, I did see that's kind of modeling is a really big part of your philosophy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in the schools, that's a massive focus for them. You know, they always talk about the teachers. I've got some close friends who are quite, you know, well involved in the education system, and modelling is a massive thing for schools, and they always promote that to the teachers. So for us to be able to do that through the parents as well, I think it's quite powerful. Yeah.
Because I was interested to read again on your website where you were saying that parents often expect or anticipate school to be the first place to pick up on any issues or things that are going on. What's been your kind of experience, or what feedback have you had around that?
So yeah, I think there's an expectation, I suppose, isn't there? And I think, you know, kids spend most of their time at school, so it's such an important partnership between the three, you know, parents, kids and teachers. I think that's underestimated, really. And I think we promote that being a bit more. And, you know, I've got ideas for going forward for it to not just be through exercise that we do this, you know, in terms of nutrition, having nutritionists come on board and promoting that within schools as well, which I know is kind of already done, but, you know, bringing that all together as one piece. Yeah, I just think it's a powerful place for those three areas to connect, and it can be used in a bigger way, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, yeah, some of my guests over the previous weeks, we keep coming back to school, always comes up, because exactly what you say, it's a big part of children's lives. And I think when we're focusing particularly on younger children at primary school, it seems like there's more and more opportunity for the kind of work that you're doing and what Happy Marlo is doing, to really support children, parents and their teachers in that kind of really important triangle, that dynamic between the three.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, especially at the moment, and with whatever's going to happen next with the whole COVID situation, it's becoming more and more important. And I think I've heard there's so many, you know, I can tell my children have been affected by it in a way. And I think the subject of well-being is going to be bigger than ever. And it already is now. I think, you know, there's a lot of talk about it, there's a lot of conversation. And I don't think that's going to stop. I think it's only going to happen more and more.
I agree with you. And this feels like it is that time of, as you said, kind of, and I'm doing the same, kind of building awareness, kind of having these conversations, and really trying to mainstream some of these things. Like in Happy Marlo's case, kind of bringing techniques like tapping and sound healing into the mainstream. And I was just thinking actually about your work, Chloe, and one of the things that we're doing just now is getting ready for our festival strategy for next year. We're at Wilderness in August of this year, and so we're speaking to a couple of the main festivals next year. I'd love to see what you're doing there, because I was stunned that at Wilderness, on the kind of whole, it's the Thursday to Monday festival. The whole program, Happy Marlo was the only thing directed for kids' emotional well-being, and they have a big well-being program. There was a session for families and teens yoga, but that was kind of it. And so, yeah, I'd love to be seeing Ohana at some of these. That's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah. No, that would be amazing. I think, you know, the more we can do, and all the things you're doing are amazing. And I think, you know, that it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think there's such a focus on the academic side of education, but that's all wonderful, but without these little bits and having the tools to kind of be emotionally resilient and be able to kind of cope with whatever's thrown at you. The academic is nothing without that balance. So yeah, absolutely, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think when I can only talk about when I was growing up, really, but there was an absolute disconnection between physical activity and emotional well-being and mental health. Like, I don't think I made that connection until later. It was very much, and this is obviously going back a bit, so I'm sure things have changed, hopefully. But it's just more about kind of competitive sport, or who's the fastest, or who's the winner. Which I found detrimental to my emotional well-being rather than a positive.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I never had that connection. I think, I remember I didn't really like PE at school. I was, I think I did it and didn't really get on with it much. But I think, that now there seems to be much more of a focus. And I think I only realised that when I started really getting into fitness myself. And I was like, oh, this actually makes me feel quite good. And and it takes a while to kind of understand that, doesn't it? But yeah, a lot of people now, there is a shift where people aren't just working out because it makes you look good.
Yeah.
It's more about what it's doing for you as a person as a whole, really.
And I think surely for kids and for the likes of me, anything that's fun, you're going to want to do it more. And so HIIT is one of the kind of exercise modalities that I do quite enjoy, because you have the variety, and it kind of, I love those quick kind of hits, or the little kind of chunks that are available to that.
Yeah, no, it is good for that. It's like I sort of say, it can be quite intense, however you want to do it, really. But it is very effective for cardio and things like that as well. It's great for your fitness levels and things as well. But yeah, and it is just about having fun and doing something fun. And I think with kids, it's all about disguising why you're doing something almost. And they don't realise they're working out maybe, and it's just about having fun with an adult, really.
So what's kind of next for you as we're coming to the end of this year? How does the beginning of next year look like for you, or what's on the agenda?
Yeah, so I think my plan over the next couple of months is to really just start building, my social media profile, getting sort of in contact with other companies I feel will be beneficial to help, and then really early spring, is where I will then look to launch out to other schools in kind of a bit more of a mass way. I've got a couple of other schools on the cards that I'm getting in contact with over the next couple of weeks, to kind of go into there. So yeah, it's just building the profile, really, and spreading the message so it reaches as many people as possible, and hopefully as many schools.
Brilliant. So where should people get in touch with you? How can they be in touch if they're a school or a potential coach, or families that are down in South London that are interested in your classes?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is www.ohana-fitness.co.uk. That's the best place. We've got a form on there and all the information you need. So yeah, I would love to hear from people.
Amazing. Well, it's been so nice chatting to you this morning. Thanks for coming on. I wish you all the best in the months ahead. And yeah, look forward to keeping in touch and seeing how we can support each other.
Definitely. Thanks so much for having me.
Take care.
Rebecca, bye.
Bye.